Hello, everybody, and welcome to Battle of the Beasts All Generation episode number 76. I'm Adam, and today we've got two more beasts fighting out for one of those last two spots in round two. Both of these beasts are considered big threats. One actually shown to be the big threat in his previous tournament. And this is the fourth Lucas and I requested fight. This one was entirely Lucas's idea, and I agree. It is a good. It is a good matchup. So with that, let's introduce the beast. So, representing Series 10, Master of the Beasts. Book number 5, Tecton, the Armored Giant. And now, representing Series 24, Blood of the Beast. Book number 3, Morax, the Wrecking Menace. So, both of these beasts are fighting it out, and both of these beasts are just as powerful as each other. The matchup is, of course, Armadillo versus Pangolin, and so that is the idea for the matchup and why we thought it would be a good idea. I'm picturing a giant pinball game, really. So Tecton in the old generation tournament died in round 1 to Serpio. And Morax died in the semi-finals to Wardock. So we know which one made it further. Now the arena will be a rocky arena, as always. Rocks will be shattered. And with that, let's get into the stats. Tecton's stats are natural weaponry and spiked projectiles. Tecton has a spiked tail, which he can fire spikes. Natural armor, ball form, enhanced speed, and cold resistance. Weaknesses are a pierceable shell, dentable shell, and removable shell. Okay, now on to Morax. Natural weaponry, sharp claws, sharp fangs, whip-like tongue. Natural armor, ball form, enhanced strength, burrowing, and acidic and poisonous saliva. Weaknesses are jammed plates. If Morax's plates get jammed, then he can't go into this ball form. Potion of Krokol's blood, and soft underbelly. So Tecton doesn't necessarily have that weakness, but his shell is more fragile than Morax's is. So with that, Tecton versus Morax. Let's get into this. So as the chamber doors open, the spectators are expecting to see the beasts come charging out, but they don't see anything. Instead, they just hear a rumbling coming out. Like, I don't know, an earthquake is happening. And after what seems like a few minutes, both the beasts come balling out of their chambers, in their ball forms, obviously, going right towards each other, clash into each other, go backwards into the closed doors of their chamber, back, forth, and they start rolling around the arena, start colliding into each other every now and then. The spectators don't even know what they're looking at. They're looking at just a blur at the moment. And Morax and when the collisions is going on and on for a bit too long, Morax goes back to the center, about to collide into Tecton, but unravels himself and just headbutts Tecton's ball and slashes it to knock it backwards and stop the motion. Tecton uncurls, looking much bigger than Morax. That is a guess. I would assume Tecton's bigger than Morax, but I'm not entirely sure. Tecton roars at Morax. Morax roars back, showing no signs of being intimidated by the larger size. He slashes at Tecton's face. Tecton feels that, but just growls back and headbutts Morax. Morax's horns did protect him a little bit, and was able to protect him from any more damage that he would have already sustained. Morax then goes back to his ball form and charges right at Tecton before Tecton could react to that, pushing Tecton backwards. Tecton is using all of his strength to push Morax back, and he tries to fire projectiles at Morax to slow him down, but that's not working because Morax is using his armor, his shell, as his armor. Tecton then decides to try and move Morax aside, giving him time to go into the ball form. He does, but Morax instantly comes swamping back, knocking Tecton off his ball form course. Tecton unravels himself and decides to be prepared to face Morax head on. Morax comes charging up to Tecton, and Tecton readies himself and headbutts the ball of Morax. Morax feels the pain and can feel the pain shuddering through all of his plates. Morax unravels himself and slashes multiple times towards Tecton. Tecton's face is feeling the pain. The shell isn't as strong on his head, but he can feel blood gushing out from his face, but he's not relenting. He lifts up one of his claws and slashes at Morax. Morax ducks his head just in time, and his plates get caught in it. Some of his plates get cracks, some shatter, but other than that, reasonably okay damage. Morax then goes back to his ball form, backs out of there, goes round the arena multiple times to chuck Tecton off guard, and Morax eventually bounces off the wall and comes right into the back of Tecton, full force, going right into the back of Tecton's shell. Tecton roars in pain as the force of Morax pushes him forwards, but Tecton tries to roll back into his ball form, and every time he rolls, he feels a bit of a dent going on and on and on and on and on, in which Tecton realizes that his shell has been dented quite a lot from the speed that Morax is going at, which is slowing Tecton down a bit. Morax then uncoils from his ball form, knocks Tecton off his course, and using his claws, he digs his claws right into where the dent was on Tecton's shell, going right into the ball of Tecton. He digs both his claws in there, starts ripping it open. Tecton is roaring in pain, uncoils himself, and slashes Morax aside. Morax is preventing that and slashes at Tecton just as much. They're both continuously slashing, headbutting, and all that at each other. Morax is spitting on Tecton to try and use the poisonous saliva to dissolve some of him. Doesn't seem to be doing much, but it is helping. Morax then gets the idea that if he wants to beat Tecton, he needs to take away one of his senses. Morax then lifts up his claw and slashes out one of Tecton's eyes, and then does the same thing to the other eye. Tecton roars in pain, not being able to see now. Morax then goes into his ball form, rolls away, and rolls around, round, comes up to the side of Tecton and just burrows right into Tecton, just full on smashing into the side of him. It knocks Tecton aside. Tecton is roaring in pain, but Morax burrows underground now, going round and round and round the underside. By the time Tecton finally gets up, he feels the earth shaking, in which Tecton doesn't know where Morax is coming from, but Morax comes from right underneath and knocks Tecton completely upside down, where Tecton's now on his shell and he's trying to get back up, but he's having difficulty. Morax then comes up, uncoils out of the ball form, stands on top of Tecton, lifts his head up, exposing his neck, and using his teeth, he bites into Tecton's neck, just full on ripping out the flesh and slashing at the organs in the neck. Tecton gasps for breath, and whilst he's struggling to breathe, Morax decides to put him out of his misery and just dig his claws deeper into his neck and just slices out any organs that is needed in the neck. Morax, satisfied with his victory, gives one last spit onto Tecton and makes his way back to his chamber, ready for the next fight. So with that, Morax has won, Tecton has lost. Do you think Tecton should have won? Please in the comments below why you think that. However, my word is final and Morax is going on to the next round. To sum up that fight, I think, for me, that was a dark fight. Pretty much how Morax finished up Tecton, that is dark. But, it was still a good fight in my opinion. So, can't really say it was bad fight. I enjoyed the fight. I think I did the matchup justice. Of course, I'll only know if I did the matchup justice just by hearing your guys' opinion on there. I'd like to know Lucas's opinion on that as well. Lucas also wants to know how well I do of a fight for this battle coming up, next one. But until then, that's all for this time. If like you saw, wait, sorry, hold on. I gave Morax a victory because his shell is arguably more powerful than Tecton's. Because Tecton's can be dented, Morax's can't. Whilst Tecton was able to get some damage on Morax's shell, at the end of the day, Morax, I would argue, is more of a non-stop fighter than Tecton is. Tecton would take some time to breathe, whilst Morax just won't. He will be relentless until the fight is done. Morax also played a bit dirty when it came to the fight, like spitting on his opponent, slashing out the eyes. Yeah, that foul play has been involved there. But I think when it comes to a tournament where it's a beast versus a beast, I don't think foul play is a good enough excuse to cancel a fight. So with that, yeah, I'm satisfied with that fight actually. Until then, that's all for this time. As I said, if you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press this little notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.